Negotiations were never an option when it came to ransom demands. Human fathers preferred the wholesale eradication of their enemies in the far reaches of the Andromeda galaxy. The Garas, a reptilian alien race known for their cunning and ruthlessness, had made a critical mistake. They believed humans to be as pliable and predictable as the other species they had encountered. They were about to learn a fatal lesson. On board the sleek, cold quarters of the Garas star cruiser, an infant's cries echoed. Little James O'Reilly, son of Captain John O'Reilly, had been snatched from his crib on the lunar colony Alpha 1. The Garas had planned to use him as leverage, confident that the humans would bend to their demands in exchange for the child's safe return. However, what the Garas didn't realize was that human fathers, especially those who had spent their lives in the harsh vacuum of space, didn't negotiate, they annihilated. John O'Reilly stood on the bridge of the UNS Vengeance, his eyes like twin glaciers. The stars outside the viewport were mere pinpricks of light, but his focus was solely on the Garas ship that held his son. He had received their message, a simple video of his son followed by demands for technology and resources. It was a message John intended to respond to with the only language he knew: overwhelming force. Lieutenant Carson, prepare the assault teams, O'Reilly commanded, his voice steady, each word a promise of retribution. We're taking back what's ours. Across the fleet, the call to arms was answered. Men who had fought and bled together in the farthest corners of space readied themselves for the fight of their lives. This was no ordinary rescue mission. This was personal, and for the Garas, it would be terminal. On the Garas ship, High Commander ABDUCT reviewed the human message. A terse communication, containing nothing more than a set of coordinates and a promise of immediate compliance. He smirked, his scaly lips curling over sharp teeth. Humans, he thought, were weak and sentimental. He was confident they would follow through with the trade. But as the first human ships appeared on the sensors, his smirk faded. These were not the actions of a desperate species. These were the actions of an avenging force. The Vengeance led the charge, its weapon systems humming with lethal potential. John O'Reilly stood at the helm, his crew ready and eager. All ships, fire at will, he ordered. A barrage of laser fire and missile strikes erupted from the human fleet. The Garas, taken aback by the sheer ferocity of the attack, scrambled to respond, but the humans were relentless. Boarding pods shot out from the Vengeance, embedding themselves into the Garas ship's hull. O'Reilly was on the first pod, his mind solely focused on one goal: retrieving his son. The interior of the Garas ship was a labyrinth of cold metal and dim lighting. O'Reilly moved through it with lethal efficiency, his team covering every angle. They encountered resistance, but the Garas warriors were no match for the battle-hardened human soldiers. Each encounter ended swiftly, the humans pressing forward with single-minded determination. In the holding cells, little James's cries echoed, his voice a beacon for his father. O'Reilly's heart clenched at the sound, but he pressed on, every step bringing him closer. Finally they reached the cell block. The Garas guards there had anticipated a human delegation, not an assault team. The element of surprise was on the human side. "Cover me," O'Reilly ordered as they breached the cell doors. Inside he found his son, unharmed but terrified. He scooped James up, his hardened expression softening for a brief moment as he held his child close. But there was no time for tender reunions. Alarms blared throughout the ship as the Garas mounted a desperate counterattack. O'Reilly, James securely strapped to his chest, led his team back through the corridors. The sounds of battle echoed around them, but the humans were undeterred. They fought their way back to the boarding pods, O'Reilly personally covering the rear to ensure his team and his son made it out. Strategies. The Garas would retaliate, but he intended to strike first. The humans had the advantage of surprise and the righteous fury of fathers defending their young. "Commander Barlow, get me a direct line to Admiral Hayes," O'Reilly said, as he strode to the command console. Moments later, the grim face of Admiral Hayes appeared on the screen. "O'Reilly, report." "We have James. He's safe. The Garas ship is destroyed," O'Reilly stated, his voice hard. "But this isn't over. We need to hit them where it hurts." Hayes nodded, understanding the weight of the situation. "Agreed. We've intercepted communication that suggests their fleet is regrouping near their homeworld. We need to strike before they can launch a full-scale counterattack. Then we move now, O'Reilly replied. No delays, no negotiations. We finish this. Hayes's eyes narrowed with resolve. You have full authorization, Captain. Mobilize the fleet. We're ending this war before it can truly begin. The order went out, and the human fleet surged forward through the stars, a vengeful spear aimed straight at the heart of the Gara's empire. The journey was tense, the silence on the bridge heavy with anticipation. Every man knew the stakes. They were fighting not just for their own survival, but for the future of humanity. As the human fleet approached the Gara's homeworld, their sensors picked up the vast array of enemy ships. The Garas were prepared, their fleets spread out in a defensive formation around the planet. O'Reilly knew this battle would be brutal, but there was no turning back. All ships, prepare for engagement, O'Reilly ordered. We're going through them, straight to their capital. The first salvo was fired, a dazzling display of lasers and missiles that lit up the void. The Garas responded in kind, their ships swarming like angry hornets. The human fleet pressed forward, every ship working in concert to break through the enemy lines. On the bridge of the Vengeance, the crew operated with a precision born from countless battles fought together. O'Reilly barked orders, his mind sharp and clear even as the ship rocked from enemy fire. The battle was chaos, but it was a chaos they had trained for. Target their command ship, O'Reilly shouted. We take it out, we break their coordination. The Vengeance surged forward, its weapons focusing on the Gara's flagship. The enemy ship was heavily armored, its shields shimmering under the onslaught, but the human fleet was relentless, pouring everything they had into the assault. Finally, the Gara's flagship's shields failed, and the Vengeance's weapons tore into its hull. Explosions rippled across the Gara's command ship, and O'Reilly saw it begin to break apart. The loss of their flagship sent a ripple of confusion through the Gara's fleet, their formation faltering. Push through, O'Reilly commanded. Take us to the planet. The human fleet surged forward, breaking through the enemy lines. As they neared the planet, O'Reilly knew they had to act fast. The Garas would regroup, and their ground defenses would be formidable. Prepare the dropships, O'Reilly ordered. We're taking the fight to the surface. The dropships launched, descending through the atmosphere towards the Gara's capital. O'Reilly led the first wave, his heart pounding with a mixture of fear and determination. He knew the ground battle would be fierce, but there was no other option. The dropships landed amidst heavy fire, but the human soldiers disembarked with ruthless efficiency. They moved through the alien city, their objective clear, the Gara's command center. Gara's warriors, their scales glistening under the harsh lights, poured out to meet the human invaders. The city became a battleground, each street and building a potential flashpoint for combat. O'Reilly moved through the chaos with a lethal grace, his team forming an impenetrable wedge around him. They pushed forward relentlessly, cutting down Gara's soldiers with precision and fury. The command center loomed ahead, a massive structure bristling with defenses. Take out those turrets, O'Reilly ordered, his voice cutting through the din of battle. A team of soldiers broke off, their heavy weapons targeting the automated defenses. Explosions rocked the perimeter as the turrets fell silent one by one. With the outer defenses breached, O'Reilly led the charge into the command center. Inside, the corridors were a maze of steel and alien technology. The humans moved with purpose, systematically clearing each room and corridor. The Garas fought back fiercely, but they were no match for the human soldiers' training and determination. Finally, they reached the heart of the command center. High Commander ABDUCT stood waiting, his eyes burning with defiance. "You dare invade our world?" he hissed. O'Reilly stepped forward, his weapon trained on the Garas leader. "You took my son," he said, his voice cold and deadly. "This is the price you pay." ABDUCT snarled and lunged, but O'Reilly was faster. A single shot rang out, and the Garas commander fell, his body crumpling to the floor. The remaining Garas soldiers hesitated, their resolve faltering. "Secure the area," O'Reilly ordered. "We need to take control of their communications and command systems." The humans moved swiftly, securing the command center and seizing control of the Garaz's strategic network. With their leadership decimated and their command center in human hands, the Garaz resistance began to crumble. The news spread quickly through the human fleet. The Garaz capital was theirs. Back on the Vengeance, O'Reilly received the reports with a grim satisfaction. The battle had been won, but the war was far from over. The Garaz still had outlying colonies and fleets, and they would undoubtedly regroup and retaliate. "Admiral Hayes, we've secured the Garaz capital," O'Reilly reported. "Excellent work, Captain," Hayes replied. "But we can't let up. We need to take out their remaining strongholds and ensure they can never threaten us again." O'Reilly nodded. "We'll pursue them to the ends of the galaxy if we have to." In the days that followed, the human fleet launched a series of coordinated strikes against the remaining Garaz outposts and fleets. Each battle was hard fought, but the humans' momentum was unstoppable. The Garaz, once a formidable enemy, found themselves on the defensive, their forces dwindling under the relentless human assault. As the last Garaz stronghold fell, O'Reilly stood on the bridge of the Vengeance, watching the enemy's final defeat. The Garaz homeworld, once a symbol of their power, lay in ruins. The war was over, and humanity had emerged victorious. O'Reilly knew the cost of their victory. Lives had been lost, and the galaxy had been scarred by the conflict. But his son was safe, and humanity had proven its strength and resilience. "Lieutenant Carson, how's James?" O'Reilly asked. "He's doing well, sir. The medbay reports no lasting effects from his ordeal," Carson replied with a smile. O'Reilly felt a weight lift from his shoulders. "Good. Let's get our people home." The fleet began its journey back to human space, the stars shining brightly in the distance. For John O'Reilly, the war had been a crucible, testing his resolve and his love for his son. He had emerged stronger, his bond with James unbreakable. As the Vengeance sailed through the cosmos, O'Reilly held his son close, promising him a future free from fear. The Garaz had underestimated the power of a father's love, and they had paid the ultimate price. For the O'Reilly family, and for humanity, a new chapter had begun, one written in the stars and forged in the fires of battle. The human fleet, now a symbol of hope and resilience, continued its journey home. Along the way, they received messages of congratulations and gratitude from colonies and outposts throughout human space. The news of their victory over the Garaz spread quickly, inspiring a renewed sense of unity and purpose among the human settlements. O'Reilly took a moment to reflect on the journey that had brought them to this point. He thought of the friends and comrades they had lost, the battles they had fought, and the sacrifices they had made. Each memory was a testament to the strength and determination of humanity. As they approached the lunar colony Alpha 1, O'Reilly felt a sense of anticipation. This was where it had all started, where the Garaz had taken his son and ignited a war. Now they were returning as victors, having secured a future for their children and their people. The Vengeance touched down on the lunar surface, greeted by a crowd of cheering colonists. O'Reilly stepped off the ship, holding James in his arms. The colonists rushed forward to greet them, their faces filled with relief and gratitude. Governor Linda Hayes, the sister of Admiral Hayes, approached O'Reilly with a warm smile. "Captain O'Reilly, welcome back. You've done us proud." O'Reilly nodded, feeling a swell of pride. "Thank you, Governor. It's good to be home." As the celebrations began, O'Reilly found a quiet moment to sit with James. He looked into his son's eyes, seeing the future he had fought so hard to protect. "James, my boy, you're safe now," he whispered. "We'll never let anything happen to you again." James, too young to understand the full scope of what had happened, smiled and reached out to his father. O'Reilly held him close, knowing that the bond between them had been forged in the fires of battle and would endure whatever challenges lay ahead. The victory over the Garaz marked the beginning of a new era for humanity. With the threat of the Garaz eliminated, the human colonies and outposts began to rebuild and expand. The lessons learned from the war shaped their strategies and policies, ensuring that they would be better prepared for any future threats. John O'Reilly continued to serve in the human fleet. his reputation as a fearless and dedicated leader growing with each mission. But no matter where his duties took him, he always returned to Alpha One, to the family and the future he had fought so hard to protect. As the years passed, stories of the war and the bravery of the human soldiers became legends, inspiring future generations to carry on the legacy of resilience and courage. And through it all, the bond between John O'Reilly and his son James remained unbreakable, a testament to the enduring power of a father's love. In the quiet moments, when the stars shone brightly in the night sky, O'Reilly would hold James close and tell him stories of their adventures, of the battles they had fought and the victories they had won. And James, growing up with a father who had faced the darkest depths of space and emerged victorious, learned that there was no challenge too great, no enemy too powerful for the human spirit. For the O'Reilly family and for humanity, the future was bright. The stars were theirs to explore, and the lessons of the past would guide them as they journeyed forward into the unknown, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead with courage, determination, and an unbreakable bond of love.